Hello, T people. Using number 5, and today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness. Drinking some ripe tea, some pretty spectacular ripe tea, I'll be honest. Forgiveness is a tough one. It's easy for us to want to stay mad at other people for the things they've done to hurt us or circumstances in life. Makes sense. Was not up to us. And yet these things, life happens. There's another type of forgiveness, though, that I want to get to in a second, but it's hard to forgive other people because you didn't make these choices. You might be a part of it, but the kind of first type of forgiveness is the forgiveness of wrongdoing against yourself. And I think sometimes things happen in life that we don't need to forgive. That maybe forgiving someone is not the right thing to do. Maybe some things are unforgivable. I think I'm okay with that, actually. But there's another type of forgiveness that I want to talk about that is a different kind. So I'm going to illustrate it with a story. Growing up, I had some stuff happen to me that was tough. We all do, right? I'm certainly not alone in that. And for the longest time, I blamed this person for treating me a certain way. And walked through my life with this feeling of frustration, resentment, not deserving how I was treated. And it was this cloud over me for a long time. A long, long time. I remember I was living in Scotland, studying abroad, doing Erasmus, as they call it in Europe. And I was walking through these blossoming cherry trees on my walk to school. I was living in Glasgow, this crazy gothic, dark. You go to school in like a castle, like a gothic castle. It's totally crazy, totally amazing. And I was pretty miserable though, and it was beautiful out. But it's in Scotland, so it's like when there's blue skies, you collapse onto your knees, in gratitude. I was listening to this lecture on forgiveness, and I had this realization that I wasn't going to forgive this person who did this thing to me, or pattern of behavior, whatever. But I needed to forgive myself for becoming a victim and holding on to my victimhood for so long, for identifying with how I had been mistreated and building almost an identity around it. And when you're a kid, you have to figure out how to cope with stuff. And we all do. We all implement whatever we can, whatever tool or process or behavior we can to get through it. It's totally normal, totally healthy. It's part of development. But part of that process, and the thing that I developed, was this jaded bitterness that was making me really unhappy. Maybe a byproduct or kind of a symptom of what I was going through. And so I had this realization, this kind of epiphany of, wow, I'm not going to be able to forgive that person, but I need to forgive myself for holding on to this pain for so long. Because we all want to identify in some ways as being trespassed against, being victimized. It's hard to shed that feeling of self-righteousness and of indignation too. But it was driving me not crazy, just down. It was just this cloud. Even on a beautiful cherry blossom filled blue skied Scotland, fresh air, crisp spring day. It was like boom. Whoa. So this is the second type of forgiveness, to forgive yourself for holding on for so long to the things that have hurt us, the scars that we have in our lives. And maybe to even introduce yourself into the world as someone scarred, as someone victimized, as someone who has been hurt, or who is a certain way and mistreated in an XYZ way. And to build an identity around that, because it's easy. And because, strangely enough, in our current society, at least in the Western world, some of that's kind of applauded. Instead, you can choose to operate from a place of power and leadership in your own emotions in your own life. And not in some, weird macho way. Simply to say, no, I'm not going to let this hold me down anymore. I'm not going to be chained by my own sense of pain and frustration and spite. So I'd encourage everyone out there to pause and think, yeah, of course, things have happened to me in my life that are tough, that I didn't choose, that happened to me. But how am I relating to them now? Am I making my life worse by not letting them go? And I hope that that thing or things or experiences or coping mechanism, behavior, that perspective that you've had on your life, I hope you can let that go. Take off that jacket and throw it out. Because growth is about expansion. And learning how to forgive yourself is an expansive thing to do. I hope this made sense to some of you out there. Maybe this didn't at all. Hopefully it wasn't too emo. Hopefully you can take some of these lessons and ideas and apply them into your own life in small and in big ways. Until next time.